Everybody, so big game we got today, the Tennessee Vols against Georgia. I've already in my shirt. On a side note, we have never ever lost a game whenever I've worn this shirt, so starting the day off. But I'm headed up here to Sharps Chapel to show a bunch of house, so I got a lot of windshield time. And I want to talk about the flip property that we are going to be doing here soon, hopefully closing on it next week. So I'm going to kind of go through, just try to provide you guys with as much information as I can. I've got some notes, actually two things of notes to kind of talk about as I was writing stuff down. Because I think people are generally always interested in flip, as all the shows. Flipping's big business. I will say right now, I even know of some flippers that have kind of like stalled or gotten out of the game for the time being, or even just basically, if it's not a home run, they're not touching it because of kind of what the market has done. And I think there's a lot of factors and there's a lot of things that go into flips that I don't know. And so I'm not going to pretend to be some expert on the actual art of buying and flipping a property and selling it. Now, as far as buying and selling properties, yes, I feel very confident in my experience and skill set there. But as the actual flip goes, over the years, I've been able to make some awesome connections with handymen, contractors of all different shapes, sizes, and industries. So that alone has given me a lot of tools to be able to do this, be able to be in this position, because otherwise, without those resources that I've personally worked with before, or know of their work, and dealing with clients, I don't know that I could do this or would do this. Even at the numbers that I'm going to present you guys, because I'm going to break down the numbers and kind of let you know my mindset going into this. So if you all know, I am not a flipper. This will be my first time. I'm all about...
In a quarter mile, continue straight onto Tennessee 33 North, Maynardville Pike.
I think the best tax strategy in the country, as far as if you legally do not want to pay taxes, is you need to buy and hold real estate. I'm unaware of anything else that kind of compares as far as...
Continue straight onto Tennessee 33 North, Maynardville Pike.
That comes with owning real estate as rental property. So flipping, there are no tax advantages in flipping. Zero tax advantages. It does not, I don't save anything in taxes. As far as the process, as far as buying it, it's not a write-off. And then
continue on Tennessee 33 North for half a mile.
Right, it goes towards the bottom line. But I mean, ultimately, right, it doesn't benefit me long-term at all to flip a house for tax reasons. Zero. I don't care. You can't 1031 exchange it. You can't hold back your money. And then,
in a quarter mile, continue straight to stay on Tennessee 33 North, Maynardville
doesn't
Pike.
exist. Now, I'm going to get into some of the things that makes this situation unique for tax reasons, but ultimately, no tax advantages in flipping. There really isn't. It's
continue straight to stay on Tennessee 33 North, Maynardville Pike.
Yelling like crazy, but I think we should be good for the next 45-minute drive. So first off, I went and looked.
Continue on Tennessee 33 North for 23 miles. It kind of fell in my
lap through a coworker that knows people. Just a weird situation. My understanding, I don't really ask a lot of questions, is just a really bad breakup situation, and the house was essentially abandoned. They just literally got up and left with like food everywhere, and even like the refrigerator. I have a picture of it infested with bugs because basically utilities were turned off. They didn't pay their bills, so they got to the point where it was, they were pre-foreclosure. So they reach out to a coworker and was like, hey, we don't want to foreclose on it. What can you do? So, she's reached out to her network and included me and be like, hey, we got this opportunity. So I went and looked at it, to be honest. I was like, I don't want to mess with this. It's a little too much work. So in our rentals, we usually buy turnkey. We don't mind slapping some paint on some stuff and putting some better flooring down and stuff. We got people that can do that, windows. That stuff really doesn't scare us. But it was quite a bit of what I would call small to medium stuff. And I was like, man, I really don't want to fool with it. So I kind of, initially my gut feeling was like, no. And then I thought about it a day or two, and I was like, you know what? And like, I feel like as a person in business and real estate and just as growth, you need to try and do new things. And I'm all about that. I mean, started this insurance company. That's been very humbling. Insurance is crazy hard. But I was like, you know, when am I going to get an opportunity like this to maybe go through this process and learn with extremely what I would call is maybe the most minimal risk I've ever seen? Well, again, with the offer I was going to present them. So I was like, you know, I'm just going to throw them an offer. It's one of those offers that's like, hey, I don't want it, but if you'll sell it to me for this, I'll take it. And my initial thoughts in doing this was I was going to turn this into a rental, right? It's what we do. And one of the things, this is the good hack for anybody. Usually whenever I buy rentals, the last couple, what I've kind of done is, you know, we've got to an agreed upon amount that the seller wants. And usually what I'll do is I will build in any of the repair cost, anything I want to do to it, and kind of get my money back. So what I mean by that is I'm going to say easy. I'm just going to do easy math here, right? Let's just say the seller, man, I got to sell this for $100,000. Like that needs to be my cash in hand to walk away. So sometimes what I'll say, all right, well, listen, I'm going to buy this for you I'm going to buy this for $120,000. And I want you to kick me back, you know, to another LLC, $20,000 so I can make the repairs, right? Or we can put it towards commission, whatever. There's multiple ways to kind of work the system there. And because then that's $20,000 less I have to be out of my own pocket to put towards repairs. Or it goes to closing costs and stuff like that. I'm all about building that in. To me, that makes so much sense to do that. To always build in closing costs, build in repairs if you can, if you know the home's going to appraise there. It makes so much sense to do that. So that was my plan here. So I gave them an offer. And they were kind of thinking on it a little bit. Well, of course, here comes some competition along, and I was going to get a loan. I'm a big believer in using other people's money. So in commercial rentals, you got to put 20% down. And so they end up basically getting a cash offer for around the same of what I was going to offer them, getting a loan. Obviously, cash is going to be better for them. Plus, they needed a quicker close anyways. So I was like, dang it. All right, so I got thinking about it, and I was like, okay, well, in the back of my mind, I'm like, all right, we'll let them have it. You know, it's fine. But then again, my business / learning kind of creativity, always want to have that different experience, kind of kicked in, and I was like, you know, Stephen, why not just take the chance here? And it's in my eyes, and I'm very conservative with all my investments. You know, this is a home run situation to where it's just very, very minimal risk. I mean, I would almost have to just botch it like 3 different ways, 3 different times in order to probably even break even. So I said, all right, well, you know, I basically agreed to kind of go up a little bit more to beat the other cash offer. And at that point, I was like, okay, well, and so here's my cash offer. We're just verbally going back and forth. So here's my cash offer. They agreed. Well, at that point, what I was thinking about doing was, all right, well, I'll just spend my cash. I'll make the repairs, and then I'll refinance, potentially keep it as a rental. Still another thought in my head. So I was like, okay. So I called a few different lenders for commercial loans, you know, doing this business name, and talking with them, and nobody wanted to refinance, allowing me to pull all my money back out. They only wanted to really allow me to refinance to pull out what I paid for it, and only 80% of that, which again, you got to put 20% down, so 80%. I realized that number. I was like, I don't understand. What if the house appraises for, you know, $250,000? You know, I would like to pull out, you know, 180 and you know, I'll just say 160,000 and then have the loan at 200,000, and I know what my cash flow numbers are. But they wouldn't allow me to do that for 2 years. So then the thought is, okay, well, I don't want to tie up, you know, I don't want to buy the place for 150 I got to know I got to have 20% down on it, so that's $30,000. And then I don't want to put another $30,000 into repairs and have, you know, arguably $60,000 tied up into this house for 2 years when it's only making, you know, let's just say $300 to $500, $300 to $500 a month. For me, that doesn't make any sense because I can make better use out of that money there. So that kind of screwed up my plans. And so then it went right over to the, okay, well, I guess we're going to flip this. So it wasn't my initial plan, but it was kind of like just due to circumstances, I'm in a situation where flipping just makes the most sense. So here's how the numbers break down, right? So I'm going to be buying the place for $155,000. And during this process, you know, I had a contingent on inspection. Had the inspection done. Everything was pretty much fine, except got to make them get rid of all the bugs and clean the place. But everything else was about what we expected. There we go. I had multiple people go out and give me quotes. And really it's kind of come down to probably I'm all in, right? So some of the things I have to do to the place, HVAC works, but it's original. It's like 23 years old. So I'm going to replace the HVAC. Water heater, same thing, original. I'm going to replace the water heater. It needs some new flooring in a few different areas, put some new flooring down. Lots of holes in the drywall with that touch up. Lots of areas that we got to repaint. Just the people had kids and drawings on the walls and crayons on the walls. So you got to repaint. I don't know how this, but there's like some cabinet faces missing. A little bit of damage there. We got to redo some stuff there, and a little bit exterior siding. You know, weed eater got a hold of it. And so I got to replace that, right? Because I want this to be able to go government loans when I resell it, open up for the most chance possible that I have. So in kind of doing numbers, and it's looking like I'm kind of all in, and I estimated about $25,000 to $30,000 of repairs. And again, I'm very conservative, so I went very high. But it looks like I'm going to be all in about $20,000 of repairs between getting all that done. And again, knowing the people doing work, right? You get a little bit of hookup pricing. I'm not saying this pricing is what everybody would get, but you know, when you have those connections, you help them, they help you. You get those hookup prices. So about $20,000 in, right? So that was good news to know that I was shot over on the repairs. Now, who knows, right? We get in here, they start making repairs, they start finding stuff, right? That's probably, you know, it's probably a couple of $1,000s of hidden stuff that I didn't account for. So those numbers may even out, but for the time being, it is what it is. I think I can turn around this property and I can list it for $249,900, and I think I sell it in a day, even in this tough market. Comps tell me it's really worth about $260,000. And so you're like, well, Steven, you know, why would you sell a price or a house $10,000 under what the comps say? It's because I'm in real estate and I know how to sell a house. I know how to get the best offer, the most money, and versus listing at the highest dollar, which almost nobody is getting right now. I'm going to list it at $250 because there's a bunch of buyers pre-approved at $250, but not at $260. My best chance to get the best offer is within those first 2 or 3 days on the market, 1, 2, 3 days on the market, and I'm hoping that, you know, I list at $249, I get multiple offers, it bids it up, you know, somebody buys it at $260, you know, maybe they waive some stuff and we're all good. Then let's just say again, conservatively, I sell it at $250, right? You got about $10,000 just in fees and the cost of selling it. Just, you know, whatever stuff, closing costs and stuff, that realtor fees, right? Obviously I'm a realtor, but again, realtor fees you can count for. So that leaves me with about a $65,000 profit, which is crazy when you think of this. This is not a major flip. It's not a major repair. There really isn't anything, at least that known. I had an inspection done. There's anything we know that really scares me. So $65,000 profit. Again, when I mentioned home run, just seems like a home run. When I think I can I can close. I think all this stuff can be done in 45 days. I think I can have it listed. I think it's going to sell quick. So I'm talking about a 90-day hold is about what I'm looking at. 90 days for all my money to be tied up. And at this point, we're talking $175,000, $180,000 all in for my money to be tied up. And then I will be able to sell it and get my money back. So let's see, I got a few notes here. Yeah, why the lender wouldn't let me here. Let's go to my next page here of notes. So I talked about all the repairs, 90-day hold. So one of the sucky things, though, and I feel like it's a rule that the FHA needs to change. So FHA loan, probably one of the most common loans that first-time buyers use. There's what's called a 90-day flip rule. For me to buy a house and put it back on the market within 90 days, FHA buyers cannot buy it. I think it's stupid. You're killing your FHA buyers for the opportunity to buy a house. VA buyers can buy it. USDA buyers can buy it. Conventional loan buyers can buy it. It's stupid. But anyway, so that does hurt me a little bit. So anybody that can't go conventional or VA or these other loans, they can only go FHA. They're not going to have an opportunity to buy the house. So that does hurt me as far as the amount of people that can buy it. Because they can't even really go under contract for day 90, until day 90, or day 91, I guess, there. So, capital gains, right? When you hear this term, almost everybody, you know, and people, when they, oh no, capital gains, when they say this, they've never paid capital gains in their life. Very few people do I know in my life that I would say I'm on a friendship level, have their number saved in my phone, have paid capital gains. Very few. If you understand capital gains, and people is like, for some reason they think it's just like they're paying more taxes than they have to, and that's not true. You're not paying more taxes than you have to. If anything, capital gains is, for the most part, you're paying less taxes, right? It's when you hear the billionaires, the rich people, right? They don't pay taxes because they don't have income. But what they do is, you know, when they do take income, they get paid in capital gains. Well, when they get paid in capital gains and they don't show income, there is no capital gains. They don't really pay much, all right? They pay such a small percentage, it doesn't really matter. And you can go and you can Google what those capital gains, but, you know, I'm guessing on the highest end possible, I'm paying 20%. Well, if you know the highest tax bracket is like, I think it's 37%. Well, 20% is a whole lot better than the highest tax bracket at 37%. So capital gains is actually almost half of that. So that's a win for what I would call your people who make, you know, crazy amount of money. I don't know. I think the highest tax bracket is, what is it, over almost 600,000 or something in a year as far as net income. Yeah, I think net income, not gross. Don't get those confused. So when I look at that, all right, let's just say I fell in that 20% bracket. That's $13,000, right? So that still gives me a $52,000 profit for 90 days. Man, that's actually a pretty dang good return. You know, we're talking, you know, almost like a 30% return on my money in 90 days. So, you know, think of a scenario where somebody says, hey, you know, give me X money, and in 90 days, I'm going to give you back 30% of it. Pretty good deal, right? And again, this is best case scenario. I'm going to do videos throughout as things happen, as things go wrong, as I maybe do screw ups, right? Because I haven't done this myself. So it'll be very interesting to record this whole process and keep you guys updated on all the outcome, because I want the numbers to be transparent, right? Because this is not a YouTube talking about flip homes using other people's money and become millionaire and own 10,000 houses, blah blah blah. Those are all fake crap. They want you to buy their program for $1,000 and they're going to teach you all this stuff. That's fake. Don't buy it. But the good thing on the capital gains, and this is where, because capital gains goes off, you don't pay it at closing. And this is where the timing of the year actually works out for me, because let's just say we close this next week, right? And let's just say that we are able to get it all done and we get on the market the second week of January, right? We're able to close it. So second week of January, right? So that's 2025. And let's just say we close it by mid-January or by mid-February. So I'm going to have essentially like over 10 months to take that money. So we're going to call it $65,000, to take that money and to put it to use without paying taxes on it, right? Because I get the money at the title company tax free, but obviously I have to pay taxes on it for 2025. But I have essentially almost a full year to do whatever I want with that money in order to potentially offset my taxable income. And I do that, right? I exploit that system to the fullest extent as you legally can. And I think everybody should. So what I can do with that, so let's say $65,000, Okay, so I know I got to put 20% down on a rental, so that if you just do some simple math, that will allow me to buy $300,000 of real estate. So I can basically call it $65,000. I get $300,000 of real estate there. I do think Trump being elected, he's going to take bonus depreciation back to 100%, which is key to this. Bonus depreciation to 100% to 60% this year. Next year it goes to 40. At that point, 40 becomes crap. It's like the cost segs aren't really doing a whole lot for you. But let's just say Steven's prediction is right. Bonus goes back to 100%. Now all of a sudden, a $300,000 house. We're doing some quick math. Oh wow, I might be able to find a $300,000 house or $300,000 of total real estate. Maybe it's two $150,000 houses. And I do cost segregation studies on them. Well, all of a sudden, those cost segregation studies, I might be able to save $130,000 of depreciation year one. So not only did I make $65,000, right? Now I have a write-off. This is the hope. I'm just telling you what I'm hoping to do. Now I've bought a write-off within 10 months that actually is saving me $100,000. So now I don't pay it. Essentially, those capital gains arguably are wiped out. Arguably, and it's more complicated than that, but arguably are wiped out. And I have another $35,000 of, let's just say, real estate commission that is also wiped out that I will not pay taxes on. All right, so that's how the game is played. Now, it would be a little, where this would get kind of complicated is if I was doing this and I was going to be closing, in the first week of December, I wouldn't have enough time really to buy another house and to offset it. So then that money comes up and then I got to pay it, right? So the time of year really helps me in doing this. So I wanted to share this video. I think that was it as far as my notes go. I know it was a lot of information, there's a lot of stuff, but again, I always like to share as much as I can, be fully transparent how it actually works. But this is the first for me, be honest, nervous. Also, it's a lot of money to be put out, and I will say this empties the war chest, which is kind of scary at the same time, because that's something happens, anything goes weird, right? We have operating expenses and all that stuff. I'm just saying, like, a little bit of a gamble in that way, but we feel confident, we feel good. I don't feel overextended. I wouldn't do it if I did feel overextended. So questions always, real estate. Also insurance, guys, let me tell you what, doing insurance, right? I will not be able to get just a regular insurance on this because I am doing work to it. The dwelling will be vacant. So actually the insurance that I get on it will be a vacant insurance, right? So, which is a little bit more expensive because insurance companies, hey, if there's a water leak, hey, if there's a small fire, nobody's there to put it out. So it's going to be a major repair, major issue, major loss, which is going to be more expensive to the insurance company in order to do that. So that's the thing to remember with flipping is you got to get a different insurance until basically the property is sold. Obviously, then it's gone. But nobody's going to be living there, so it is some vacant. And again, there's going to be work being done to it, so got to have a little bit of liability there. So just a side note on the insurance stuff that people don't really think about. I'll be honest, I didn't know it until I got into insurance that was a thing. So, but as always, guys, questions, holler anytime.